The Shadow in the Woods. The Shadow in the Woods. It was a dark, moonless night when Jonathan decided to take a shortcut through the woods on his way home. The towering trees blocked out what little light the stars provided, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Jonathan had always been a rational man, never one to believe in the supernatural, but as he walked deeper into the woods, an uneasy feeling began to settle in his stomach. The path was narrow and winding, and every now and then Jonathan thought he heard something rustling in the underbrush. He tried to convince himself it was just a small animal, perhaps a rabbit or a fox, but the sound was too deliberate, too close. Suddenly, the wind picked up, rustling the leaves overhead. Jonathan pulled his coat tighter around himself and quickened his pace. But as he hurried along the path, he noticed that the shadows cast by the trees seemed to be moving in ways that defied the laws of nature. They stretched and twisted, creeping toward him like dark tendrils. Jonathan stopped in his tracks, his heart pounding in his chest. He looked around, trying to see if anyone or anything was following him. The woods were silent now, eerily so, as if the very air was holding its breath. Then he saw it, a figure standing just off the path, barely visible in the darkness. It was tall and thin, with long, bony arms that hung limply at its sides. Its face was obscured by shadows, but Jonathan could feel its eyes on him, watching, waiting. He tried to move, to run, but his legs felt like lead. The figure took a step forward, and Jonathan could see that it wasn't entirely human. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, and its eyes, when they caught the faintest sliver of light, glowed with a sickly yellow hue. The creature's mouth twisted into a grotesque grin, revealing rows of sharp, needle-like teeth. Jonathan's breath caught in his throat as he realized that this was no ordinary forest dweller. This was something ancient, something malevolent. The creature began to move toward him, slowly at first, then faster, its limbs jerking unnaturally with each step. Jonathan finally found the strength to turn and run, but the path seemed to stretch endlessly before him. No matter how fast he ran, the sound of the creature's pursuit grew louder, closer. His lungs burned and his vision blurred with fear and exhaustion. Just when he thought he could run no more, the path opened up into a clearing. Moonlight spilled across the open space, and Jonathan threw himself into it, hoping the light would keep the creature at bay. He turned to face the path, but the creature was gone. The woods were silent once more, as if nothing had ever happened. Jonathan collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath, his heart hammering in his chest. For a moment, he thought he might have imagined the whole thing. But then he noticed something on the ground beside him, a deep, dark stain in the dirt, as if something had been there, something not of this world. Jonathan never spoke of what happened that night, but he never took the shortcut through the woods again. And every time he passed by those dark, looming trees, he could feel eyes watching him from the shadows, waiting for him to make the same mistake twice. This story leaves a lingering feeling of dread and uncertainty, with the possibility that the malevolent entity might still be out there, watching.